The first thing you notice is the smell. Sailing from the mainland in the stuffy lower decks of the galleon was a days-long test of your fortitude. A horrendous mix of tired bodies and unkempt facilities. You believed that this single sensory punishment was enough for your crimes, that banishment could do you no more harm than dwelling in the cesspool that has carried you to your fate. As you stir back to consciousness, your nostrils timidly take in the world around you. Fresh air signals that you have disembarked the galleon. On any other day, and in any other place, this would be liberating. But the fresh air signals something more spirit-breaking even than your withering journey. Your sentence to carry out your exile has begun. Your freedom dubiously reinstated in this lawless place. As your eyes finally open, the truth sets in. Your life has been left behind, and your doom has begun. Welcome to the Badlands. This miserable string of islands has served as the Crown Mage Lord's dumping ground for the criminals his kingdom cannot handle. Thieves and murderers of the highest degree, malpractitioners of the arcane arts all roam this world freely. Survival is not guaranteed. Thriving is merely a myth. Left to your wits, you must carry out your sentence and navigate this tumultuous seascape. As you struggle to right your body upwards, your head knocks against a rusty bar, which you quickly realize is part of a metal cage. In a brief panic, you scan your surroundings. First, the grass brushing against you is unlike any crown prison you've observed, and the hills roll out from beneath you until they fade into the sea miles away. The bones of a torchlit shantytown surround you, with buildings and scaffolding resembling the hulls of old ships. Third, you are not alone in this cell. 3 cohabitants are lost in the slumber from which you have just escaped, only to find yourself behind bars once again. Locke, what do you do?
I'm gonna look around. Do I notice anybody else in the cell with me, or is it just me?
Yes, you do. You notice, according to what I just read there, you have 3 other people asleep in the cell with you. It's nighttime. The cage is barely lit by the torches so that line the edge of the shanty town. So you can see in the torchlight 3 figures. 2 of them like pretty big, full-size men. 1 a little smaller than what you'd expect to see in a prison cell, of the kind of person you'd expect to see.
I would like to investigate the cell to see if there's... Like, am I in handcuffs or anything? Am I chained to...
No, you are not bound. You do feel very weak from your journey, pretty malnourished from the trip.
Okay. I would like to investigate the cell to see if there's any sort of supplies or anything that I can use to make myself feel better, so...
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you go ahead, roll investigation.
I got an 8 plus 1 for my investigation, which brings me to a 9.
Cool. That's a kind of a sad first roll of the campaign, but let's see what we can do with it. So with a 9, you as you sort of try to push yourself to your feet, you feel a little bit lightheaded. You try to blink the fog out of your eyes, and the world around you sort of like slowly clicks into focus. You manage to support yourself against the metal bars, all vertical bars in a square cage, and it's not a very large cage, but you're able to sort of like across the 15-foot wall of bars, move around and get a closer look at your cohabitants. So the first person that you move to in the right corner of the cage, or the corner of the cage to your right, you see a human sitting there in sort of tattered clothing and sort of like a rugged appearance, and is sort of snoring softly. And you're able to determine that another man sits in the opposite corner. And the small figure, as you get closer, is a small girl in sort of a long, flowing, almost like nightgown T-shirt, also worn from the journey, though. You don't recognize any of these people from your trip in. You also notice on top of the cage that the bars do not complete, that there is technically a gap in the cage, but that gap is covered by a massive boulder.
Okay.
That is what you see in your immediate vicinity. Anything beyond the bars of the cage, you're still sort of having trouble focusing on the world around you.
Okay.
You're the only person awake. Shh. Amazing Foley work.
Is there a way that I can climb up the bars and touch the boulder at all? Or because they're all vertical bars, I can't really grab?
He touched the butt.
So the dimensions of the cage, it is 15 foot by 15 foot. So that means that the boulder is like dead center.
Yeah.
So you'd have to like hang off of those bars to get in there, and it's 8 feet high. Do you know about how tall your character is? How tall Locke is?
Mid 6 foot.
Okay. So, I mean, it wouldn't be too hard for you to get up there, but given that you're pretty weary, if you want to if you want to try to get up there, I can resolve that if you'd like.
And
but
just to be clear, my character does not have any of his weapons or anything right now.
That's correct. Yeah, starting equipment you don't have on your person.
Okay. I would like to, I guess, try to get to the top of the cage, suspend myself, and try to like push the boulder and feel how heavy it is.
Okay. I'm going to have you roll an acrobatics check, but it's going to be at disadvantage because of your sort of sorry state.
Okay. So, first roll is a 16.
Okay.
And then the second roll is a 14. So, 14 plus 3 acrobatics, 17.
17, you are able to sort of grip the bars, and you notice that they're not, like, in great shape. There's, like, these rusty segments that, like, scrape skin off your hand as you try to shimmy up the bars, and you dangle... not too far off the ground, but enough to be a little uncomfortable in your dizzy state. And you sort of inch your way across the bars on the top that sag downward where the boulder rests on them. And you touch the boulder, you don't notice really anything special about it. It's a big rock sitting on top of, well, the only visible escape from the cage.
I would like to make a strength check to try to move it.
Sure.
Would you want me to do disadvantage again? Because I'm like...
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
So I got an 8 for the first roll and a crit fail for the second, so...
You touch the rock and you die. The end. No. So, with a critical fail, you reach up, you let go with one hand and you try to swing your arm up to hit the boulder and touch it. But as you do, you immediately lose your grip with the other hand as it cramps up and you slip and you fall to the ground with a thud. Roll a Constitution saving throw for me.
I got a 7, and my save for Constitution is 4, so that's 11.
So with an 11, when you hit the ground, you kind of let out a bit of a yelp. You just got punched in the gut, and you're just
like the wind knocked out of me. And
yeah, exactly. Gotcha. Do you want to give me an idea of what that sounds like? Maybe. Awesome. At this point, with that sound, Ryan, your character begins to stir. You were snoring softly in the corner, and your eyes begin to flutter open at the sound of that your cellmate just made. This stirs you back to the edge of consciousness. What do you do?
I look around. What do I see?
I have to clarify because I'm extremely curious. Is Kalt saying this out loud?
No, yeah, I guess. What do I see? Yeah, I'll look around.
Yeah. Locke falls to the ground.
Did you hurt your bottom?
Kalt, you see basically the same thing I described to Pat as far as what Locke sees when he opens his eyes. You are probably not as off-put and not as in unhealthy a state, just because you did not arrive here by the same means that Locke did. So you sort of have your senses about you, but it takes you a bit to wake up. You groggily open your eyes, and you clearly can see... Do you have dark vision, by any chance?
Nope.
Okay. So what you see is, like, flickering in the torchlight, you see someone sort of, like, groaning, rolling around in the middle of the cage. And then 2 other people on the opposite end of the cage also sleeping in the corners.
Who are you? What have you done to me?
I ain't done shit to you.
So edgy.
What's going on? I heard somebody hit the bottom.
Yeah, that was me.
You whinny like a girl. Who are these other two roustabouts beside us?
I ain't know nothing more than you do, Brud. Wow, Brud. Brud. Meant to say bud, but
Brud,
whatever.
No, what if Brud is like a pretty common Atridian colloquialism, coming back for hundreds of, yes.
Gotcha. So it's a bruh and bud, all in one. Brud.
Obviously, it's in canon.
I am not your brud.
Okay, then.
I guess I'll try and stand up. Is there enough room for me to stand up?
Yeah, there is. It's 8 feet high, so when you stand up, you're able to sort of like fully extend all your appendages. You can even reach out in between the bars. The bars are only about like 6-7 inches apart, so you can like stick your arm out of them. Like whatever you got to do to get comfy, you're good.
You wouldn't want to touch him. Kalt uses Mage Hand to try and stir the two others. I just like mess with their faces.
Yes. So as you right under their chin, you kitty scratch them.
Tee-hee.
Jesus Christ.
Wakey.
Who's doing that?
Eggs and bakey.
The DM says from the sky, "Who's Jesus Christ?"
My landlord.
So I got a question. So we're just like stuck in this cell. Would I just, as me being from the Badlands, do I like get what's going on? Is this like, oh, just leave him out here to die? Are we waiting to be like arraigned or something?
I'll have you roll a history check for me.
Pretty good with history. I'm gonna go ahead and roll.
Pretty good.
It's cocked. Let's see. Worse, I got a nat one, so I don't know nothing about this.
Cool.
Off to a great start, man. 2 crit fails already.
You forget who you are. No, so with a 1, you basically look around. You notice that when you stare out at the moonlight reflecting off the ocean, that the ocean sort of like bounds off to the horizon without any islands. So you were at the edge of the Badlands. You're not able to sort of grasp anything else about your location.
We are far from home.
All right, which one of you rapscallions tickled my mustache?
I'm just going to point, like Locke is going to point at Kalt.
You better watch it, boy. I'll box your ears in.
I would like to see you try.
I start limbering up in the corner.
So do we start killing each other or what?
I'm sorry, your character's first name again, Josh?
Edmund.
Edmund, okay, because I know, yeah, okay. So Edmund, I know that you also had sort of a bit of a different journey here, but given your circumstance, you are also feeling a little malnourished. So you're able to stand up, but you sort of wobble as you do.
So I got a quick question.
Yes.
So what do I have as far as like equipment? Am I wearing my clothes? Am I like naked?
You guys have all your clothes. So anything that you were wearing when you departed is fine, but anything like tangible weapons or equipment that could be used to escape is gone. You know, trinkets in your pocket, like that stuff is usually there.
I have an important question. Do I have my familiar with me still?
Yeah, you can cast it.
Well, I can dismiss it to its own plane if possible. But
Do we have our armor, if that counts as clothing, or?
Yeah, I would say if you were wearing armor, you're still in armor. I guess, well, this is worth exploring now, and this could be fun to do in character. You all sort of came here in slightly different ways, and I think that's going to inform whether or not you guys have clothing or armor. So, Kalt, you might have armor on your person because you were not brought here by the Empire, but Locke may have had his armor taken from him going through that arrest and arraignment process.
Do I have my teddy bear?
Yeah, nobody would have taken that from you.
Oh, thank God.
My word, is that a child?
Hi, mister. How you doing?
So Maeve apparently snaps out of her slumber more easily than anybody and cheerily greets
I
her.
kept them both awake.
Oh, you did, but like
she's
she's
not
like
groggy,
she just had like 8 cups of coffee.
Yep, that's Maeve.
So okay, so yeah, go ahead. So Maeve, you introduce yourself to Edmund.
Hi, I'm Maeve. What are we doing here?
Well, that's a wonderful question, child. How did you get here?
I may have gotten in some trouble. I didn't set the fire, though. It wasn't my fault.
Oh, my
You
word.
didn't set the fire.
We didn't set the fire.
It just started burning.
Okay.
So there's no exit. It's just a stone on top of this cage.
There's a giant boulder resting on top of the cage, which, like, as you all sort of like rouse yourselves to consciousness, I assume Locke may point it out to you if you don't catch it yourselves.
We must move this boulder somehow.
Ooh, do we want to get out of here?
Well, yes, that would be ideal.
Oh, yes, I want to get out of here.
Okay. I cast Enlarge Reduce on the boulder and shrink it down.
Okay.
Just the right size to kill us all.
Rocks fall, you die.
So when you reduce the size of a thing, does it reduce the mass of a thing?
It cuts the size in half, and the weight is reduced to 1/8 of normal.
1/8 of normal. Okay, cool. You cast this spell, and you don't really give anybody a heads up. You just say, okay, I'm going to do it. And the issue here is that Locke is still standing in the middle. So you manage to cast, you cast on the boulder, and the boulder shrinks in size before anybody really knows what's going on. It's still a pretty heavy rock. So when it falls, Locke, I'm going to have you make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Is that your boulder? That's a nice boulder.
Crit fail. Jesus fucking Christ.
Wow, crit fail? All right. So basically,
It smashes your head in. This is our podcast.
Kalt, you have your faculties a little bit more, they're a little bit sharper. So I want you to also roll a dexterity saving throw because you're closer to Locke than anybody.
All right, I don't got good dexterity, so be ready to die.
I would hope that it wouldn't outright kill me.
So,
It's falling
That's
2 feet.
No, it's falling 8 feet.
Oh.
Kalt rolled a 3.
A 3? Okay.
That is a 2 plus 1.
So Kalt sees this all happen, but is not dexterous enough to do anything about it. As I would say that, Locke, you try to sort of skirt yourself out of the way, and the boulder still weighs at this point like 100, 200 pounds. So it is going to land on your foot, and I'm actually going to have you take...
Oops, sorry, mister.
You take 6 bludgeoning damage as this boulder, reduced in size, lands on your foot, and you hear the crunching of some of the bones in the tip of your foot, making it even harder to stand, perhaps impossible if you don't get that sorted. But yeah, 6 points of bludgeoning damage. Go ahead and mark that.
Yay.
Well done, child. Well done.
So, we need to get out of here, because that won't stay small forever.
Oh.
I ain't gonna be walking right now.
You scaly one. Can you carry the weird Brooklyn one?
I think he is the scaly one. The scaly one is the Brooklyn one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot who the Dragonborn was.
I am the Dragonborn.
I get real super close into your face, Locke, and I like get over to your ear, and I'm going to use healing word on you.
Oh.
I'm going to whisper something
What
real
is-
creepy in here, but I'm just going to roll it first. You get 4 hit points back. 3 plus
Nice.
1.
So I'll say you can restore those hit points, but I'm still probably going to treat your foot as being injured, so that may come into play if we're talking stuff like mobility. I may reduce speed or give you disadvantage or higher DCs on certain checks. So, but the boulder has fallen with a very loud thud as it like sinks into the dirt as soon as it hits the ground, and there is now probably about a 3 foot in diameter hole in between the ends of the bars right above you. Again, the top of the chamber of the cage is about 8 feet above your heads. The rock at half its size is maybe about 1.5 foot tall off the ground, which gives you a tiny bit of a boost.
So the creepy thing I say to your ear is,
I give you some life. Know that I may one day take it back.
Jesus Christ.
I have a question. How long does the boulder stay small?
1 minute.
I have an idea.
Oh, all right.
Oh, right.
Wait, hold on. How does this work in
I'm
character?
gonna scoot over to the small child and pick her up and stand on top of the boulder.
Ooh, thanks, mister.
Now, hold on tight, child. This is going to be a bumpy ride.
So I want to ask, because you guys are making, I presume, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are expecting the rock to rapidly expand and catapult her out?
No, the both of us.
Oh, the both of you. Wonderful. So I want to ask, in fiction, how do you know this?
Well, she said the boulder was going to go back to its normal size. I assume it'll get
I
tall enough
was
to climb
asking
out.
out of character, but
So this is a good question. Matt, your character Maeve, how aware is she of the limits of her power? Does she know the rock is going to expand like this
Oh,
again?
she knows. She's like, she's a kid, but she.
Oh, she's
yeah.
sharp.
she's sharp, but she knows that like she can't like concentrate forever on it. So she's sweating.
Okay. Holding her teddy bear in one hand and holding Edmund's hand in the other, the two of you stand on top of the shrunken boulder, mere seconds away from the point where you expect it to expand and sort of launch you out of this cage. As you do,
right? We're not just going to stick around.
Well, I mean, do all of you want to get on top of the rock?
Yeah, I'll.
If I can.
If I notice him wobbling, I'll whisper something more creepy, and I will use guidance on him. He has a D4 for an ability check.
Yeah, if you want to go for it, you can go for it. Crawling up the rock is very small at this point. It wouldn't be. You guys can just get on top of it. There's no check for that.
Is my foot like pinned underneath the boulder though, or?
No, I think you were able to sort of get it out. You did move out of the way, but with the crit fail, I had you take some damage. That's all. So you're out from under it, but your foot's just in bad shape.
I guess I'll try to hobble onto it.
So all of you are like basically like huddling on top of this tiny little boulder, waiting for it to launch you. I want everyone to make a perception check for me.
Okay.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Cool. 8 plus 2 is a 10.
I got a 3 plus fucking 3. Got 6.
Total of 23, but nat 20.
I'm rolling like ass right now.
I have a 12 plus 1, 13.
So at this point, you are all standing on top of the boulder, and most of you are concentrated with oh god, what is this going to feel like? How is it going to expand? Is it going to, like, shatter my leg? Is it just going to throw me up? But Kalt, you, with your basically keen sense of sound, you hear some rapid but sort of light boom, boom, right outside the cage. And as you turn around, you see a very, very tall, giant person moving towards the cage with a club in one hand and a boulder under the other arm. Now, the rock begins to expand, and you all feel yourself in an instant being launched straight upward. And as this happens, the giant is trying to lower a new, similarly sized and shaped boulder on top of the cage to reseal you in here. Now, I'm going to have each of you roll a dexterity saving throw. Locke is going to roll with disadvantage.
Does guidance apply to my saving throw?
Oh, no, guidance, once you use it once, it's gone.
Oh, never mind.
I got a nat 1, by the way. So
That is an 18 for me. 15 plus 3.
I got a 10 plus 3, 13.
15 plus 4, 19.
All right, so I rolled for the giant, and I rolled a natural 1. So the way this shakes out is you guys all basically fling yourselves upward, your arms going right in between the sharp edges of the bars, and your feet just barely eclipsing the top of the cage. As the giant tries to lower the boulder, he sort of loses his footing, and the boulder base goes straight over the edge of the cage with an enormously loud thud, so much louder than the one that fell into the middle of the cage, bounces off the ground and rolls off of the edge of what you now realize is a cliff, and soundlessly disappears into the waves many, many, many feet below. And the giant sort of like tries to scramble back up to his feet in a slow nature, but you are now all standing on top of the metal cage.
cast Ray of Sickness on it.
Okay, so you cast
Second
Ray of
level.
Sickness. Why don't you go ahead and detail the effects of that for
All
me?
right, so it is, I roll for an attack, and then if I hit, and he takes 3d8 damage, and then he has to roll a con save or he's poisoned.
Okay, cool. So you cast that. Why don't you go ahead and roll your attack?
So 18.
18. I'm going to say that I got it right here. Yep, that hits. So I have to make a con save?
Well, yeah, I mean, you take the damage, but
Okay.
for the con save is if you're poisoned for next round. Poisoned, you have disadvantage on pretty much everything.
Okay. Hold on a fucking second. I lost my Apple Pencil. Where did I put it? No.
Product placement.
Oh, Apple Pencil. So fancy.
Take 16
I am
points.
so fancy.
Take 16.
Hashtag not sponsored.
He takes
Hashtag corporate shill.
He takes 16 points of poison damage, and he needs to make a con save of 13.
16. Wow, holy shit. What was the DC again?
13.
Another critical fail.
Hey,
Holy
He's
shit.
poisoned until the beginning of my next turn. So he has disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and
All right, so I'll keep that in mind for time's sake, with the turn being 6 seconds. Except that we are not in combat as of yet. I know that you've just launched an attack, but we haven't entered initiative. So the giant, getting up from the ground, basically is bombarded by the spell that you like effortlessly cast against him, and he sort of starts to just like cough and wheeze as like he's like brushing the dust out of his face. And he's like,
"You weren't supposed to get out. Go back in. Go back in. And you were supposed to die.
Why, what did I do to you?
You keep me in a cage.
I don't keep you anywhere. I work for the Far Lord. I do what he says. He keeps you there. I just need to go. He's not gonna like this. He's not gonna like that you're out. He won't. He won't. He won't.
One death will pay for another."
Can he help us at all?
If I can again, I'm gonna. Oh, I mean, if you guys want to intercede, my character would want to kill him.
Hey, mister, do you want to be friends?
Who are you, you lovely little lady?
I'm Maeve.
I kind of put my arm in front of Maeve, like, stand back. I don't want to hurt you. I just want you to go back in. Go back in, please.
But why? What's gonna happen?
Bell gets in trouble. Bell doesn't like when he gets in trouble.
Can we help you not get in trouble?
I don't know. Go back in and I'll be safe. And you'll be safe too.
You must choose trouble or death.
I don't want to choose. I don't want to choose. I never want to choose.
I'm gonna raise sickness him again.
Oh my word.
Okay.
Does a 16 hit? 11 plus 5?
Yes, a 16 hits.
Another 12 damage.
12 more. Okay. Next another con save. I'm 17 plus.
Yeah. So yeah, he's.
Yeah, 17 makes it. Okay. So, having taken another damage, he basically, at this point, as he was like sort of whimpering in fear, he pushes himself up, uses his club to stand up on his 2 feet right as you cast the spell once again, causing him to sort of fall back right on his butt. And he's like, to him it's quickly, but because he's so big, it's like, it's almost like he's moving in slow motion. He sort of starts to like scurry back to what you see is in between all these different cages, and there's a number of them. You see that there is there's a fence around this area, and in that center of the fence is basically like a small overturned boat, and he seems to be like sort of scurrying back into that little wooden shelter. And that's what he's doing as he's sort of like whimpering, like, I don't want trouble and I don't want death. I just want to be left alone. And he sort of starts to move right back, moving in that direction. What do you guys do?
Hey, mister, where are we?
He completely ignores you.
When we look around, are there other people trapped in these cages?
I'm gonna have you make a perception check.
Yeah. 14 plus 2, 16.
So you look over the other cages. Now, in this area, there are 5 different cages, all sort of arranged in an arc. Yours is the closest to the cliff edge. The others sort of curve in the arc to get it slightly further inland on the edge of this precipice. In the middle cage, you do see a sort of sullen figure sitting there. There is some movement, so you presume that it is like a living creature of some sort. Other than that, every other thing you see in a cage is sort of slumped over and motionless, and I'd say probably in each cage there's at least one thing up against a wall like that.
I'm gonna try to get down off the top of this cage to some solid footing.
Sure. I say you do that pretty handily.
Are you still carrying me?
No, I suppose I'd set you to the side.
Okay. I guess I'll kind of crawl down.
If you want to jump down, I will catch you.
Oh, thanks, mister.
I'll hop down as well, and I'll like take an eye in the direction of where you said he was a giant.
He is of giant stature.
Okay,
that's all you can tell.
I'll
so
like
far.
eye where he's going and see. I'll like watch him as he leaves.
So when you look over the area, you notice that like in between all these cages and then the fence with the wooden shelter in it, it is a small open grassland. It's not huge, but it's just like a little open field with these cages plucked on it. Each one having a boulder stacked on top of it, right on the top, just like it was on yours. And the sort of semicircle that the cages form all point directly toward the wooden shelter that the large fellow has just scurried off into.
And are there any other shelters around, or is it just like this overturned boat, cages, and that's it?
So this is where it comes to the description of the shanty town, and you don't have a great view of this. So when you look through the fence. The fence is pretty high. Like we're talking like about 20 feet high, made of like jagged barbed edges to metal poles and like sharply cutting wire. running across it in no really cohesive pattern. Beyond that, you see the shanty town, which is just like, you see piles of scrap, again, boat hulls and ship masts and sails used for curtains and canopies. There's basically a small settlement here, and you are fenced into this area with the cages.
Seems like we're in a squatter's town, filled with filth.
Well, that seems like a rather rash judgment, but yes, no, I would agree it's not the nicest place I've seen.
Do we have to stay here forever?
Well,
I ain't staying here for one more minute if I ain't got to.
I would like to point out that Locke is the only one still on top of the cage.
I don't know what the fuck we're doing.
You know, despite all of your rage...
Don't you dare finish that sentence.
Copyright.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode proper of Dice Populi, a tabletop role-playing anthology series. That's a mouthful. I'll do better next time. Thank you, really, so much for listening to our show, Dice Populi. We are very excited to be playing this game together and to be sharing it with you. For anybody who listened to our 30-minute introductory episode, this little breakaway is going to be mostly recapping that. But for those that haven't and just decided to jump right in, my name is Colin. I am dungeon mastering this little adventure, which is Escape from Farpoint. It's only going to run a couple of episodes, and it is the first chapter in our campaign, which we are calling Dicey Waters. Dicey Waters is set in the Badlands. Our fellas are on these islands here, as you've most certainly guessed by the cliffs and the rocks and the waves and all that sort of talk. The story itself is written by me, but once we're done with this adventure, we switch gears, and another person on this show will DM. That's going to be Ryan, and he'll be running his own story that he wrote, and every cast member you're listening to is going to run their own adventure inside the Dicey Waters campaign. My job is to sort of pull it all together and make it one big cohesive show. We're very excited, and what we're going to be doing is, for this first month, we're going to be releasing weekly to give you a new episode every Wednesday. We have 2 out today, the intro and this, and then we're going to have one next week, the week after. But come September, we are going to go bi-weekly, as is pretty common with real play shows like this. The logistics of this, it does take a very long time to produce, and in reality, only 2 of us really do the production side of it. So starting September, it's going to be the first and third Wednesdays of every month that we put out new episodes. And the best way to stay in touch with that is to subscribe to this podcast on whatever podcatcher you use. We would love it if you enjoy the show, if you took the opportunity to share it with friends, share it online. We are reachable because we are part of the Common Geeking Program at the Common Geeking Program Facebook group. We also have a handle on Twitter and Instagram that the 5 of us run collaboratively. That is at Dice Populi. And you can find our website, which is commongeekingprogram.com/Dice Populi. I got to come up with shorter names for things. Jesus. We're very, very, very happy with how this show is turning out, and we're having so much fun making it. If you have, we have a ton of ideas for things to do in the future. I've been thinking of putting together PDFs of all the adventures we run, but that is a lot of carts in front of this one tiny horse. So just for now, if you enjoy it, let us know, review, share. Keep listening, and we'll always try to put out more content for you. You can also check out a couple other shows. This is the 3rd show that we produce under Common Geeking Program. But credit where credit is due. Ryan Mossbarger wrote a tremendous amount of lore for this world, and it is fantastically helpful. Matt Canavan slices and dices these episodes, editing them into something coherent, so you don't hear all the technical difficulties. And my job, aside from stitching all the adventures together, is to write the music and sort of polish the episode and put it out for your listening pleasure. That's about it. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We're not going to have these little breakaways every episode, only when I think we have something important to say. So I'm going to let you get back to the story. I hope that we see you again next week. But for now, enjoy the adventure. Kalt is looking around. Maeve and Edmund have both jumped down. Maeve, are you trying to stay close to Edmund? Edmund, are you keeping Maeve close? What's your
Yeah, I think so. He's
situation?
keeping me safe for now.
Yeah, my natural reaction is to try to protect the child surrounded in this giant wasteland.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Locke, do you have any specific actions you want to take? You've sort of been keeping a low profile since you popped out of the cage.
I want to go to said shack and figure out what's going on, but I am worried that if I try to jump down, I'm just going to fuck up my foot again.
Well, if you jump down, you can certainly try, or tell me however you'd like to get down.
Can I see this hesitation in him?
That as Locke, are you visibly sort of dipping your toe in the pool, sort of oh, I don't want to.
Hey, mister, are you a scaredy cat?
I'm more just looking down. I ain't no scaredy cat.
Don't worry, if you jump, I will catch you.
I'm going to jump specifically in the opposite direction as everybody else.
And he goes off the
cliff.
Isn't that where the cliff is?
I could potentially, I guess, but I
Death
didn't
before
mean
embarrassment!
behind. I meant to the side, just so he can't catch me.
I don't need anyone.
As a pride thing.
Yeah, so you hubristically slip down the other side. I'm going to say that you sort of gently let yourself down. I'll have you just roll a dex save for me.
Nat 20, baby.
About time.
With a nat 20, you dismount with a perfect double backflip McTwist. No. So you basically slip down and you land on your good foot, and you don't really take any damage. You don't feel any pain. You just sort of brush it off and look with kind of a told you so expression at the folks around you.
Told you I ain't need no bite.
Good, you made it down a small landing.
Would you like a round of applause?
Let's come and slay this simpleton and burn down this village.
Kalt is not winning any points with Locke, just to be clear.
He's not trying to hurt us. We could help him.
Yes, he seems rather simple, in fact.
The guy's just doing his job, you know?
His job was to imprison us.
Well, I feel it was more just to move rocks.
Yeah. Homeboy did just move a rock. Or two. Who knows? Let's say we figure out who's actually making him do this shit, and we teach them a lesson.
I say we burn the lot.
I just want to get out of here.
Same.
Yeah, please, there are children around. If you could avoid
Kalt
the
starts
topic of
laughing.
burning people.
There is no out of here.
All right, so well, here's something that I see happening here. I see both Locke and Kalt want to go to the overturned boat to deal with this giant further, but you seem to have different ways of. No. Here, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys want to do it differently. Kalt, you want to hurt him, and Locke, you want to talk to him, figure out what's going on.
I guess. I more so just want to figure out who's going to make him get in trouble and then just go kill that person.
Okay.
I wish to talk to him with not just words.
I believe he may be our best bet of getting out of here. So
I would like to, persuade Kalt if I could.
Cool. I would like to avoid interpersonal contests if I can. If it comes down to it, I'll have you roll a contest of charisma and persuasion. But if we can sort it out in role play, I think that would be more interesting.
Okay. All right. Stay close, child, and let's see if we can talk to the big simple man.
Okay.
I will stay my hand for a time, but the simpleton is on notice.
And the narrator notices that Kalt plays along. So, how many? So, are you all moving toward this particular area?
Yeah. Sorry. What did he say his name was again?
You recall that he was saying Bell over and over again. That seemed to be the only name.
Simpleton was his name.
Bell and Farlord were the two proper nouns he seemed to spout.
Future Tombstone was his name.
Belle, we're so sorry for the occurrence earlier. Would you come out and speak with us, please?
And then you hear some shuffling, and you see his sort of shadowy figure move in the dark overhang of the wooden hull, and you hear sort of murmuring out from there.
I just don't want trouble. I don't want trouble.
Oh, you're not in trouble, dear boy. Come.
I'm going to have you roll persuasion.
Persuasion is a 9 plus a 5, 14.
With a 14, he looks out and he sees you, but then he also sees the sort of menacing visage of Kalt standing next to him and says, like,
You hurt me. That's trouble. I don't want to be hurt anymore.
Oh, he was just scared of you, dear boy. You're so large. Don't worry.
Maeve extends a hand out to him, and it's like, Come on, mister.
Coupling that with Josh's roll, Belle's hand sort of extends out and he says to you,
Belle just wants friends. Belle just wants to be happy.
and he is sort of whimpering as he extends his hand out, and as his hand enters the moonlight, you start to see how big he actually is. And standing easily over 12 feet tall, with sort of ashen skin, nearly white, his long, gangly fingers reach out to you, Maeve, and when you reach your small child hand out to his, it barely covers the tip of one of his fingers. But he has extended his hand to you in goodwill.
Mister, how'd you get here?
Belle looks down at you and he says,
Belle works for the Far Lord. Belle's been here a long time.
Okay, well, how did we get here?
I saw ships, I saw boats, I saw bags. I see so many people come and go. Did you come on a boat? Belle hasn't been on a boat in many, many years. I miss the ocean.
My character would like to lean close to whoever's I'm sitting next to or standing next to and just be like, this guy fits on a boat?
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Roll plus jokes. No, so as you say all this, Belle starts to smile as he revisits the thoughts of the ocean. And he sort of gets sidetracked now, thinking of those thoughts, and sort of loses his trail of answering you. After saying Far Lord, he just starts talking about boats.
No, Belle, over here. No, this Far Lord you speak of, is he a nice man? Is he nice to you?
Belle, his mouth kind of like gloms open and close a few times as he thinks of what to say. And as he's doing that, you start to notice, you've heard it ambiently now, but it comes into focus that there's sounds of clashes coming in from the heart of the town, which you can't see, and the clanging and the shouting has just seemed sort of like background noise with the breeze of the ocean. But now you hear on top of it,
Yes, fight for me!
In the background, and Belle winces, and he's like,
He doesn't sound nice, does he?
Well, no, I suppose not.
So, Belle, where do these boats exactly come in? You catch my drift?
Get it? Drift.
Oh, good lord.
And Belle starts to shrug, and you all hear a voice much more low and sharp than what you've been hearing out of Belle. And coming from behind you, somebody says,
Come on, do you really think he knows where the boats are coming from? Listen to him.
Colin, you're in this game?
All right, that one. Cast Ray of Sickness on that one.
Ray of Sickness level 9.
Yeah,
"That's it."
Oh, fuck.
That's your standard greeting.
just spin around and be like, who are you?
So, and the figure that Edmund had noticed in the middle cage doesn't really move from their place. You can see that there's sort of long stringy hair dangling over some arms as the moonlight pierces through the clouds. The moonlight fades away again as the face lifts up to you, and you see two glinting eyes, and the voice says to you once again,
Well, does it really matter who I am? It matters that I'm here too, doesn't it? Doesn't seem like this simpleton is going to be able to get you guys to a boat.
Well, I mean, he's not in a cage, so he has a better shot than you, I suppose.
And if we don't know who you are, how do we know you can get us to a boat?
Yeah, so they don't laugh. An amused smile goes across their face, though. as they slowly start to like push themselves up and weirdly skulk to the front of the cage pretty briskly until their hands are on the bars. And then they say to you, well, I guess that's a pretty good point, but, well, I guess you don't know why I'm here, if I could even get out. Making a lot of assumptions, don't you think?
I do not like the way this man speaks to us.
I do not like the way this man says.
I told the dead on him. Make a wisdom saving throw.
I don't want to say the modifier, so I'm not going to say what it is, but it does pass. It comes out to, it comes out just above that, so he succeeds the save.
Okay. Nothing happens.
Yep. So basically, you try. Was this like a somatic spell, or did you have to say anything?
It's a verbal and somatic. I'd have to do something with my hands.
Okay, so after your gesturing continues, he said, well, it seems like it's going to be a waste of time. I'm sorry, I'm being cryptic. I guess I get that way when I meet new people. You can call me Bait.
I don't like the sound of that. Yeah.
I swear that's nothing apocryphal.
First name Master, last name Bait.
You could be rather handy.
You may call me Jerkoff.
What does that mean? We're cutting that out in post.
Nope, that's staying in. That's gonna be that's the trailer right there.
Fuck.
So Bait, let's go of the let's go of the bars and sort of straightens out their back, and you can see they're sort of a pretty skinny person. You can't really make out any specific features, but they are swimming in the robes that they wear, and they say, well, I guess there's no two ways about it. I'm in trouble here too, but I can tell you I've had plenty of lovely chats with Bell, and tragic family history aside, he's not going to tell you anything interesting about this place. But I suppose you're a step further than I am, being out of your cages. Maybe he could be of more use to you.
How long have you been here, mister?
Oh, well, my sweet darling, I'm afraid that longer than I can count.
Can you not count that high?
They grimace at you. And look back up to everybody else. It's like, wow, you guys are all a bit of a feisty crowd, aren't you? I was kind of hoping for a little more peaceable interaction amongst my first visitors.
Speak your peace and be silent.
All right, my piece is that I want out of here too. That Far Lord has something that I want, and if you can get me out of here, you can help me get it. I can get you off of Farpoint. And at that point, when he says Farpoint, he like wiggles his eyebrows knowingly. You all sort of get that he knows where we are in calling this place Farpoint.
So this is definitely just Colin in this game. We should kill him. We should kill him immediately. He can't keep on dodging all of our attacks. We should murder him and wear his skin as a suit. I don't understand why
Is there anyone else in the cage with him?
There is not.
And every other cage seems to have multiple people in it?
Every other cage has at least somebody in it, but nobody is moving.
Can I go around to look at these other cages and make sure that those people are either asleep or dead?
I'm gonna walk with Edmund just because he seems to be kind of a protector.
Stay close and don't put your hands anywhere near the bars.
Okay.
I'm gonna eye Bell. Does he look like? Is he a giant of some kind, or is he just like a really big?
At this point, now that you got a clear glimpse of him in the moonlight, yes, he is very clearly a giant. If you want to know more, I'll have you roll for it.
Okay, I'll roll. What would it be?
At this point, I would probably say nature.
Ooh, I'm not. I guess I'm all right. It's 9 total. 4 + 5.
So basically, in the dim light, with the ashen tone of his skin, you can tell that he hails from at least some sort of highland, some sort of hilly area. But beyond that, it is too dark for you to gain anything else based on your knowledge of the surrounding islands. So going back to Edmund and Maeve, the two of them walking hand in hand go around inspecting the people dwelling in the other cages. Nobody is moving, and upon closer inspection, nobody is breathing. So you sort of gather that everybody else stuck in here is most likely dead.
Why aren't they moving?
You see, When someone has not had enough food or what, and I kind of awkwardly try to skirt the subject of death with a child, let's ask this gentleman. Excuse me, dangly sir in the cage. I'm sorry, I don't recall your name.
It's Bait. Nope.
Jerk off.
Why does everyone call me Jerk off? I don't understand.
I'm sorry, Bait. What happened to these less fortunate souls?
What happens to anybody when you're not given food or water for days at a time? You go really, really hungry.
Would it be fair to say that you, having been here for quite some time, are really, really hungry?
I mean, it'd be safe to say I'm pretty much always hungry. An insatiable appetite is just runs in my family. But yes, I could definitely do with something to eat before I collapse.
So now, if they all died from malnutrition, why are you still here?
Everybody seems to be around at different tenures. You really think that I'm the first person to be placed here in this dump?
No, but you're so far the oldest person we have found here. Oldest resident, with the exception of the lovely Belle.
Wow, that's quite a way to introduce yourself to someone. Call them old and gangly. Wow, you guys are just winning on manners across the board. Now, I'll tell you what, if you let me out of here, I'll be a little more eager to cooperate, but I'm getting a little antsy now that my only prospect of escape is just sitting here and insulting me.
My word, I think the boy has a spat of disagreement with us. Well, I suppose it would only behoove us to have more hands. Does anybody oppose to trying to release the fellow with the long, spindly hair?
I'll saunter over, I suppose, and see how they get along. If they seem like they need...
Hey, mister, are you going to help us get off the island?
Well, if you can help me get out of this cage, I need to make a little pit stop, get something from a friend of mine, and I'll be more than happy to take you anywhere you would like to go in these lands.
Can I roll insight on this motherfucker?
You see,
Yeah.
I thought you said that the Far Lord had what you wanted, and if he's your friend, why are you in this here cage?
So, at this point, and I hope this resolves your request for an insight check as well, Bait looks up to the two of you and he says, like, hey, listen, it's a little girl. I'm trying not to make it sound all scary, doom and gloom and such. Of course he's not my friend, but I gotta get out of here.
Spare her not the gruesome details. Many worse stories are to come.
Okay then, little girl. Well, let me tell you, I hate Farlord Barclock. He is my worst enemy. He runs this cesspool of an island and takes all the repository filth and grime from the remnants of the Atridian Empire, and he basically runs, I would call this sort of a slave barge of an island, and if I don't get out of here with what I came for, I'm going to end up dead in this cage just like everybody else. So if you could convince your friends to play nice, I would love to help you out, but I must say, I am a little bit stretched thin. Can use a wafer or something to hold me over, but I am not here to fight you.
We could kill the giant and sup upon its flesh.
Well, now, okay, hold on.
I'm not about that one there.
Bait sort of like shrugs at that suggestion.
I sense a softness in you all.
All right.
Do you not know where you are?
I will help get you out of here.
It's like, all right, wonderful. Now we're making some progress. I'm sorry, guys. When I'm low blood sugar, I tend to get a little... And he shakes his hands. All right, listen, now, I saw that you managed to do something pretty creative here with your boulder. Why don't you just hit mine with... Oh, why don't you just hit mine with it? Let's get it going. Let's get it moving. I'll step out of the way so I don't end up like your friend here.
I don't know. I'm kind of nervous.
I agree with the young girl.
What is making you nervous? How can I set you at ease? How can I help?
Now, you willing to murder a man and be locked in this cage in order to get some item from him, but we don't even know what this item is.
And he upon exhaling sharply, he looks up and he sort of like gazes past you all and looks at Belle and he's like, I feel like I was having more wholesome conversations with you.
Stop winking at the camera.
So, you said your name was Jim Halpert?
Roll for pranks.
Perhaps the simpleton could be of assistance. Wouldn't have to waste your magics, young one.
Do you go over and solicit Belle?
I wouldn't. Kalt wouldn't, but he would offer that as an idea.
Okay.
He's still on the, like, we should murder and maybe eat Belle.
Okay,
train.
that's fair.
Excuse you.
Hey, Mr. Bell, can you take the rock off his cage?
Belle sort of crawls out on all fours, and he and even on all fours, he's still much taller than all of you. And he says, "Bell's already in trouble. If I let out the strange man, I feel like it will get worse."
Oh, come now, Bell. That's not the attitude to have. You must look on the bright side. No. Say Bell. That's a lovely name. Where did you get it?
My parents, I think.
It has a lovely ring to it. And he kind of like sighs.
That was a very good pun.
Thank you. Look, if you help us out, maybe we can help you out. You don't seem to enjoy yourself here too much.
You'll be happy if the boss likes you. But I don't think the boss likes me.
Well, then I think it is time for a change of occupation, dear boy.
All right, and at this point, Bell starts to get a bit more of a smile, and he pushes himself up. He's still sort of like hunkering over as he gets to his feet, but he is a little more open body language, like he's sort of relaxed a bit. As you start to say these things, you're clearly having a positive effect on his disposition.
Well, that's a spirit, old chap.
You want me to move the rock?
I think that would behoove everyone. Don't you folks agree?
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's right, Bell. Look, everyone is in agreement. We're all happy.
And he said, "Yes, I think you have a weird read on the room, but okay."
No, and he moves over. He moves over to the cage, and Bait sort of looks up at Bell, and he's like, "See, you and I always got along, didn't we? I'm very, very grateful that it's come to this, isn't it, Bell, old pal?" And Bell just sort of ignores him, doesn't really pay Bait any attention, and he just with one hand, sort of like with a lot of force exerted, slides the rock off the back, and there's another loud thud on the ground, and a slight clang as it bangs against the metal bars on the back of the cage. And Bait, like, very nimbly sort of like jumps up, pulls himself up, like parkour style. He very gracefully, like, slides his legs in between the bars and is now perched atop a single bar tightrope style before quickly dismounting and silently landing with both pads of his feet, his bare feet, on the ground, and moves through the grass toward all of you. Well, this is a happier turn than I think I was expecting tonight. You all are my heroes.
You're welcome.
You get dick, or is this just how he talks?
You could roll insight.
I'll roll insight. Not that I'm a very insightful person.
Is your mother Shelob?
+0. Hey, that's not bad. It's a natural 16. 16 plus 0.
Cool, 16 plus 0. At this, you get that Bait's just sort of a weird dude. It's not like you have a read on everything, but he's not really being facetious at the moment.
Oh, okay, I thought you were just being a sarcastic little bitch.
No, he's just a weird dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure to put distance, like kind of position myself between him and the small child.
Now, upon him getting out, you do notice that there's been a little bit of a change in the sounds coming from the distance. After the loud thud, the raucous partying and belching and drinking and yelling, for just a moment, it stops. Bell worriedly looks up at the rest of the camp before yanking his head back down, looking at you and saying,
"I'm in trouble. They know something is wrong."
CommonMeetYouProgram.com.
5 seconds.
So don't dice inside me. Do dice inside me. Dice inside me, please.
Electric Boogaloo.
I still like Dice Me Amadeus.
Don't shove your dice inside there.
Fuck.
Dice.
Dice in every
Dice
hole.
over my chest.
Dice means dice.
Dice me on the ass. Money dice.
Does.
I want your hot dice all over my tits.
It's too on the nose.
Whoa,
Colin.
where's the fucking
Where's your
tits
sense-
coming out of here?
Where's your
Yeah,
sense of
man.
innuendo and
You just
tact?
went straight to tits.
Blow your dice in my face.
What the fuck?
See, that has tact.
Yeah.
That has like a certain je ne sais quoi. That
Leave some of it to the imagination with that one. Yours, you're just like, yeah, let me spray your dice all over my tits.
It's a spoiler alert, dude. You gotta let people dream a bit.
You're good. It's
Let's
okay.
make
Renee,
dice together.
Dice me harder.
Oh, dice me in the ass. All right.
Let me dice over your feet.
Okay.
I'm recording.
That's a special
I'm
kind of
recording.
role play.
Oh, I'm
Let us
also
bring back
recording.
the chronograph of this world. Smell
Okay,
me dick
yes.
your dice.
James, is not what I typed here.
Bullshit.
Smell me dick, your dice, eh?
You got your dick on my dice.
Oh, hot diggity. What the fuck?
Fuck.